Let me tell you about Alien Isolation.
The end of the 2000s saw Sega getting the rights to publish games for the Alien movie franchise, a decision that still seems like a home run pitch on paper. However, this led to a series of releases with debatably diminishing returns by the time the 2010s were really getting started, reaching its most panned with 2013's Aliens Colonial Marines. The interesting thing is that it seems like at least that game and the subject of today's video were initially conceptualized at around the same time, which was not too long after the initial acquisition had taken place. The big difference between the two from the outside looks more like a tale of experimentation. Colonial Marines was done by Gearbox, the peak of their FPS run that they started running into the 2010s with, whereas today's game started as an intimate affair that became something bigger over time as the team focused on creating an atmosphere more inspired by the fear and the darkness of the 1979 classic film. This energy also bled into the writing of the story, that then led to Sigourney Weaver coming back as Ellen Ripley for a bit, which then eventually led to more love of that original film given later on during the game's life, considering how well it translated the world of the first movie into the game. The predominantly strategy game developers, Creative Assembly, used the engine they'd built for their last game, the hack-and-slash Viking Battle for Asgard. Its lighting effects and rendering capabilities helped give life to one of my personal favorite horror games of all time. It is the terrifying smart homage to one that turns into a horrifying homage to all that is Alien Isolation.
I was already excited to talk about this game because it turned 10 this week and we got a new entry in the series, movie-wise, which I sadly hadn't seen and made me feel like I shouldn't make this video. Then we got the announcement that the sequel is happening by Creative Assembly, which is hype as fuck, and I'm excited to see the details about this game roll out over the coming months, because I love Alien Isolation. I think it is easily one of the best games in its genre. I think it is easily the best game I've played in this series. I mean, I do love these movies. I own a couple of the games, including Colonial Marines, which I haven't played, but I bought for the time that curiosity will finally strike. I'll have this at the ready to play. But I mean, this is a gem, and this is a gem. Like, there are gems in their genre. Alien Isolation is a classic that I feel like has garnered its fandom over time, but when it came out, was not quite seen as the classic that I would say it has evolved into within pockets of the scene. But should still have more people aware of its greatness, because it is a good homage to some of the theme and mooding and world building and storytelling pace of the original that goes the distance with its set piece and its characters and its evolving story and conflict within. You know, you see Amanda Ripley's real only plight being more of her mother, and it's a good motivation for the player as a fan of the series. You know, I think that the set piece of the Sevastopol is also fantastic and provides for this evolution of difficulty that I think the story that's presented helps takes you along very strongly. I love the small but still very different styles of enemy in this game. You've got the survivors just trying to get by. You've got the working Joes. You've got the alien itself or themselves as the story progresses. I mean, it's a game that puts those pieces in place in the best order to make you scared. The alien itself, as time has gone on, has been seen as one of the scariest, like, AI enemies in a video game, and I would agree. The way that it hunts you, the way that it just can pick up on a lot of subtlety and stuff, the way that it's just random at times, it really, like, it makes you scared, and it does a good job at keeping the tension high in any situation that it's in. The game developers themselves put the alien in these great set pieces that, especially early on, both in the game and upon meeting the alien, circumvent you back through to really help you learn how to be sneaky in any sort of circumstance, and I really appreciate that. I like that on top of having stealth be this main mechanic, whether it be from Survivors, Joes, or the aliens. The way that combat, while there, because it is a survival horror game at its core, given the crafting, all that sort of stuff, and the hiding and the like, uses ammo effectively. You know, there are some moments where, yeah, ammo can really help you, but it can also hurt you shorter down the line. Moments where you're stacked up against a whole lot of working Joes, or moments where you need ammo to survive, like across the like electrical, I think it's the generator, where you're trying to cross and the working Joes all have the rubber suits on. It's when they finally go all aliens and you throw more face huggers into the mix. Shit gets scary. The relationship one has with the tracker and its beeps as the alien circles around you. Like, it is one of the few instances where I feel like I can really spend time in this sci-fi world that I just have a lot of adoration for, and I also really just appreciate that as well. Even things like how the save stations operate, like they bleed into like modernizing the horror scope on top of being this survival horror experience that I think is just a chef's kiss. All of those components together create for a good game at the end of the day, but on top of that, the atmosphere, the use of engine, what the team did to create a slice of this world that, yeah, it kind of gets done in some pockets. I feel like in this game especially really feels like a piece of the original Alien movie. I really appreciate the artistry within crafting this slice of this world. Things like how the circuitry and the hacking games all work. They all service the style that is the creme de la creme of this experience, along with the music and the sound design and the like. Like, the team did such a good job that they recreated the ending stretch in DLC that I streamed playing a couple of years ago to celebrate the channelversary, which was a really fun time because I hadn't played it prior to that. Like, all of the components of this just make for a bona fide experience that I think anyone who likes horror games and hasn't played should absolutely play. It is a very scary, fun time. While I haven't played it on the internet in full, I do have interest in doing so. There are some challenges I haven't played that I think would be fun to do in the game, but the game itself is a classic. I think that it is absolutely worth your time, and again, at the time it was met with some solid, you know, respect, but I think as time went on and more people got to sink their teeth into it, they got to see this classic upon their eyes. I'm glad that it's gotten some love at turning 10 this year, and I also love that a sequel is on the horizons. What do you think of Alien Isolation? I thought about doing it, and I love this level in this as well. It's a game that's inspired me in a handful of instances in the creative, reflective scope, and I decided to do a classic review given all of the, you know, getting swept up in the celebration of it all. But what do you think of this game? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know in the comments down below. If you did like it, give it a like. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. I drop 2 to 4 vids a week depending on what I've got going on. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Rack. You guys have a good day, lots of situations, and I'll see you another day.
Woken by the smell of sorted power and defecting shortly after. Fist bump, dry land, brackish. Catnap 15 back to Swiss cheese.